Welcome to Woodland Permaculture. I'm Jenny Wood. And I have to be honest, I'm a little frustrated today because I started a project to plant some trees today and I was videotaping everything and it was looking really good until I tried to listen to it and there was no sound on any of my videos. So I'm kind of having to start over, and I'm going to use some of the video that I've done and do some voiceover. So this video is probably going to look and sound a little bit different and a little bit off, but that's okay. So starting over, I wanted to share with you what I'm doing today. Yesterday, I bought 2 new fruit trees. I bought a 3-in-1 cherry tree and a 3-in-1 pear tree. And today I'm planting those and also transplanting my male pistachio, which was planted over in that area. And I'm moving it, and actually have already moved it to right here. And I moved it to right here because it's in perfect alignment with the wind to be able to fertilize my female pistachio, which is down there by the fence. So that's why I wanted to move it there. And then I'll be putting my 3-in-1 cherry tree right here and the 3-in-1 pear tree over where the pistachio was. But also I wanted to share with you something today because I have been studying Genesis this week in my scripture study. And of course it's talking about the creation and how God, or the Creator, created this earth and the organization that went into it and the planning that went into it and how perfectly precise everything was when he did that. And so I wanted to share one of the scriptures with you. And this is from Genesis 1:11. And it says, "And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind," which is in perfect harmony with what permaculture talks about in terms of nature being able to sustain and take care of itself. Trees and plants, grasses and herbs, they all create seeds so that they can perpetuate themselves, and they all work together in the ecosystem. And so this is why, to me, my faith works in perfect harmony with permaculture and with the principles in permaculture. And today, with my planting of my fruit trees, I am helping to fulfill that whole promise and that whole, all of those blessings that come from working with nature and from helping to perpetuate God's creations. So let's get started. At this point, you'll start to see me with video, with some voiceover work, so the voice may not perfectly match up with what I'm doing exactly, but I'm going to do my best. And then eventually you'll hear the sound coming directly from the video again, where I'm able to actually get sound going again. So thanks for joining me, and let's see how this goes today. So I'm starting today by moving some extra dirt from the front to build up this berm here and the mounds where I'll plant the trees. We are digging a pit for a gray water system in the front, and so I'm using the extra dirt within my garden and not letting it go off of the property. And by doing this, I'm using the permaculture principle to produce no waste. So by keeping this dirt within my garden, I am taking responsibility for it and keeping it in the ecosystem. Next, I'm digging the hole in the spot where I'm going to be transplanting my male pistachio tree. Oh, and look, a passion fruit. And now here I am at my male pistachio tree. And right now it's dormant, which is a perfect time to transplant it. First, I need to dig a big hole around it so I make sure to get as much of the root ball as I can. And then I can bring it over to the other spot where I'm going to plant it. I also have to be careful because right here is my drip line, and I don't want to break that. Right here is my mulch pile. This is all the mulch left over from my mulberry trees pruning a few months ago. It's been sitting here ever since, and with the rain it now has some great fungus in there. Once I get the trees planted, I'm going to spread it all over the spots that need it back here, covering all the dirt I put down and around the trees. So I wanted to give you a closer look at the hole that I'm digging around the pistachio tree, in case, like me, this is your first time transplanting a tree and you haven't seen this before. Now, as you can see, I have dug way out from around the trunk of the tree and away from the roots. You can see the roots here, and this is the root ball. What I need to do is to continue to dig down underneath, deeply underneath the root ball, so that I don't hurt many of the roots. As I dig down under the root ball, I gently lift it up . This can take a while, and I can feel that there is one root way down there that's very deep, and I may end up having to break that one. Oh, here is some more of that green mesh stuff I keep finding. One of my viewers commented and said that this is material that they put down when they first grade the property to minimize erosion. Thank you, Thomas, for teaching me something. Of course, we know if we just garden in the right way, we won't have much erosion. Okay, so I'm getting close, but if you look right here, you can see this one root is growing really far into the side of the hole. I think I'm just going to end up having to break that one, and there might be a few others like that as well. I don't think it's too damaging to the tree, but I still hate doing it. All right. There we go. We got it. A tree and its root ball and roots all ready to go to its new home. Okay, here we are at the first hole that I dug, and I'm checking to see if the root ball will fit, but it won't. As you can see, the roots, those big roots, are too long, and so I'm going to need to make this hole a little wider over on one side so that those roots can go in easily and gently so that they don't get broken or hurt in any way. Okay, so I've made some extra room on one side, and now those roots fit in there perfectly with plenty of room. But before I actually put this tree in the ground, I need to put some compost in the bottom. There we go. That will help give it a nice start with some organic material to nourish it a bit. But I've heard you don't want to put too much in there, or else the tree doesn't want to grow out from its hole. it's too comfortable in there. And now I just need to put the tree in and cover that root ball with the dirt that I took out of the hole. I want to make sure not to bury the graft area. That spot is the most susceptible to problems if it's buried. Oh, and I need to take this off. We don't need this on here anymore. Later I will take these other ties off so that they don't bind too hard onto the tree, and we'll reposition the stake with looser ties. And we got to make sure the tree is straight in the hole. Okay, we're almost done transplanting the male pistachio tree. I just need to step on this area to make sure the roots are all making contact with the dirt and getting any air pockets out. And then I just need to put some of the last dirt on top. And I need to make sure not to cover up this graft area. All right, and now I just need to put some more compost on top. There we go. Just a few more last steps and we're all done. And after I finish planting all of the trees today, I'll give them a good dose of water. But doesn't it look pretty right there? Okay, now I have my 3-in-1 pear tree and I'm ready to plant it back at the hole where the male pistachio was. I realized though that I did not make a mound in this area like I did with the other 2 trees. And so I had to pull some dirt from another pile that I have to build up the area around the hole. You see, when I plant this, I want the graft to be a few inches above ground level on a mound so that the roots have plenty of room and plenty of drainage as well. The roots need a little more room on this edge, so I'll have to dig a little more of the hole on this side. I'm also trying to decide if this is the right direction that I want the tree planted in. All right, I think I'm ready to go ahead and plant this pear tree. I've got the hole dug. I've made extra space over here for the roots that go that far, and it's going to go in just like this. So I think that is doing just fine. So now the tricky bit. I need to hold this up high while I start to put some of this dirt back in there to be able to hold it up. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully I'm not in the way. I've got to hold it up and just start putting some dirt back in there. And then at some point, eventually, this tree will be able to hold itself up while I finish putting dirt in there. So I've got the tree planted pretty well in there now. I think it's pretty straight. And I've got the dirt coming up right about to where I want it. Just covering up those top roots right there, but not any higher. I had to go get some more dirt from the front, and I think I want to get even more dirt to finish mounding up around this area. But otherwise, I think it's starting to look pretty good. All right, that's looking good. Got a nice mound there. It's definitely higher than it was coming from the ground, at least by 5 or 6 inches. So good, I'm happy about that. And I think this is about done, except I want to put a little more compost on top of it. And then once I am done planting everything and moving my dirt around, which I'm just about done. That last load was pretty much all I needed from the front. So I was perfect. I can start mulching everything as well after I spray with some mycorrhizide. Okay, I think it's time for the cherry tree. All right, being very careful not to hurt my onion and my radishes and other plants, or celery over there. I think I've got it. So it's a little too deep, which is fine. I'll put some compost and stuff in the bottom. I want to hold it up to about here and fill it in around those roots. And I think that is a good size hole. All right, this time I think I was a little smarter. I mounded the dirt up in there a little bit to kind of match the shape of the roots. So now there's a mound over there to help support that side. And then I can hold this up a little more and start putting dirt in. Again, I want this part up high, and I don't want to bury it any further than right here where it was buried before. And there are some roots that like to stick up, so I think I'm going to try and gently put dirt on top of those in order to kind of hold them down a little bit. And gently put these right in there. So I took the dirt and the paper that the 2 trees were wrapped in and put them in there in the hole, using the paper as a bit of a weed block and a little carbon to go into the soil. And now we can just finish up planting my cherry tree. Making sure it stays nice and straight. There we go. I think we're good. That's looking really good. It's nice up high. The only thing I don't like is whenever I step here, it tilts, which tells me there's air underneath the roots right there. Might make it start to lean that way. But either way, I am going to put in some stakes in these 3 trees. The pistachio one already has a stake, but I'm going to replace it and put a couple of stakes in these new trees to make sure that they keep going nice and straight and don't start leaning over. But otherwise, I think it's looking pretty good. All right, all done. Here are my 2 new trees, my 3-in-1 cherry and my pistachio that I transplanted today. And then there's the female out there by herself, getting her a date. And then over here on the other side of the tiki is the 3-in-1 pear tree. And they all have some compost on top, and they're all ready to go. All I have to do is water them and put some mulch on top. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me while I plant my new trees. I'm so excited to do that and so excited to be a part of the continuation of this beautiful planet that we call Earth. And I'm so grateful to be able to have the opportunity to learn so much about how the Earth works and how nature works, and how I can be a part of that process, and how I can help regenerate the Earth through my actions. That is always very exciting for me. The next thing I think I'm going to be doing that you guys will hopefully see is I'm going to be doing some pruning of my other fruit trees. That has to be done in January, so I've got to get that done, and I will take you along with me in that process. I've got a few more trees this year to plant or to prune than I did last year, so that should be interesting and exciting. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad you're still sticking with me on this wonderful journey. You guys take care, and God bless.